Welcome into the Blitz Breakdown, everybody. Round 2 of the postseason, and we've got 15 Jacksonville teams standing. How about that, Brody McGough? And we've got one of them competing in a state championship this week. Shout out to the West Nassau Warriors.
Yeah, that's exciting. A lot of Jacksonville area teams made it past the first round, and we love that. More coverage for us to talk about these teams, and congrats to all of them for getting past the first round of playoffs. Never an easy task to make it, and to win week 1. Very awesome for them, and happy to all the Jacksonville teams.
Yeah, we'll be joined by the head coach of one of those teams, Collin Drafts, at 8:20, who just walked in here with a Nate Harry shirt, so excited to talk about that. And we'll kick things off with Nease's game, our game of the week last week, as they came out and dominated 45-7 over Oakleaf. How about that performance from the Panthers, Brody?
Oh, they played great, and nobody thought this game was going to be a blowout by any means. Everybody thought this was going to be a slugfest back and forth. Last year, Oakleaf got the win at Nease in the playoffs in a similar situation, and so we're thinking like this got a lot of bad blood between these teams. It's going to be a nice slugfest, but Nease just showed up, executed at a very high level on offense, defense, and special teams. Just a really good overall performance by them, and it was a really fun game to watch. Just Oakleaf just didn't bring their A game.
Yeah, it was like the opposite of last year's game where Oakleaf, they pulled away. It was 31-14. Nease, from the get-go, just full on foot on the gas, and they didn't let up to the end.
No, they didn't, and Aiden Pfeiffer played a great game. I think one of the biggest shockers in the game is how well he could run the football. He ran just like two 40-plus yard touchdowns, and he also had one in goal and near the goal line, and he has some wheels on him. We were very shocked from the booth, saying we're like, wow, this guy could run. So, yeah, really good job by him, and the defense. Everybody made a big-time play in that game, a sack. Whether it was a sack, a big-time tackle for loss, a pick, they were just playing lights out. And when the Nease team plays and execute at that high of a level, it's a really tough team to stop. And Oakleaf felt that in that game.
Yeah, Aiden Pfeiffer, 221 total yards, 3 total touchdowns in that game. Set a career high in rushing yards by 71. He had previously, the max he had rushed for in a game this season was 50 yards. He went for 121 against Oakleaf. And then 5 rushing touchdowns as a team. That's where Nease dominated. And that was the big thing in this game last year. Oakleaf won that game in the trenches. And this year, it was Nease that came up and got that push up front.
Yeah, Coach Drafts told us earlier in the week when we were on the call with them, they were staying physical at practice, and he said that we're not going to make that same mistake this time. We're going to show up and be the more physical team, and they were by a large margin. So, again, really good win by Nease, and now they get to go play Buell's this Friday.
Yeah, the offensive line had been full go in practice for a few weeks, and that showed when it came round 1. And how about their rivals, Ponte Vedra, going up against the 8-seed Niceville? Not your typical 8-seed, though, in that 5A Region 1. 31-30, and it comes down to overtime for the second straight year between these two teams. Last year is Ponte Vedra that lost 21-20 on a failed 2-point conversion. This year, 31-30, the Sharks win on a blocked extra point in overtime. I don't know how big you can be like in terms of a rivalry with a school 5 hours away, but I think the epitome of that would be Ponte Vedra and Niceville at this point.
I was going to say, similar to the Oakleaf-Nease game, there's some bad blood there. There's some bad blood between Niceville and Ponte Vedra. A lot of social media talk before the game. Both teams.
Oh, it's every game now.
Yeah, but good job by Ponte Vedra. Cole Rosendahl threw for 250 and a touchdown, and their defense played very well as well with 3 turnovers. So really good job by Ponte Vedra, and a very resilient win to get it in OT. It's never easy to win a game in overtime. You got to play some extra football, and they did that and blocked the PAT. I just think it's crazy how similar the game was to last year when it was held at Niceville. So maybe the home crowd's the difference. I don't know, but just a squeezed out win for them, and good job for Ponte Vedra to pull that off. 2
very tough places to play, by the way, Ponte Vedra and Niceville. I mean, you talk about home field advantage. Those are 2 very good ones, especially Niceville out there in the Panhandle. But and you got to imagine for PV, they're going into the into overtime. They had led most of the game. They were controlling things most of the game, and then Niceville tied it up with 2 minutes to go in that game, forcing overtime. And you got to imagine they were on the sideline thinking, oh no, here we go again. What do you think it was that led them for things to go differently this time around?
Well, yeah, again, they've definitely had that bad taste in their mouth still from last year, and I bet the seniors just stepped up in that moment and said, "This is not going to happen again. We're going to go in there and win this football game." And I bet you they're very prepared for just a complete slugfest against this team. It's going to be a dogfight anytime you're playing a playoff team in Niceville, and I bet they just really got the band together. Coach Price probably had a really good speech before that overtime, and again, just a really good win by them, and doing it off a blocked PAT again. That's just. Wow, that's like movie.
Yeah,
right there.
it's quite the story right there between Ponte Vedra and Niceville, and who knows the way that region shakes out every year.
Yeah,
could get part 3 next year, but that's way down the road. And talk about a game last week that caught our eyes. We were talking about Bishop Kenny, 43-19 win over Wakulla, and just BK, they're rolling right now.
Yeah.
That's. Let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7 games in a row scoring more than 40 points. 7 straight games scoring more than 40 points for the Crusaders. They win 43-19 over Wakulla.
You mentioned before the playoffs started, I think you mentioned that this is a team that's been kind of under the radar ever since their big loss against Bowles, and they've been under the radar throughout the season. But they've been riding hot. Their offense is playing good. Their defense is a very solid group. They got one of the better linebacker cores in the area, led by Gunnar Rogers, and they're playing some really good football. Bishop Kenny doing a really good job with that, and to get in the second round of playoffs again, that's a really hard task to do, and they did it last week, and hats off to them for doing so.
Yeah, and Coach Tim Krause and the boys over at BK, they got another home game on the river after the 7-seed Godby upset the 2-seed Bay 56-43, wow. And now they go over to Bishop Kenny. We got to experience that environment in a close game earlier this year against University Christian, but that's a game that Crusaders, you're facing the 7-seed. You should take care of business here at home. A team coming over from the Panhandle, and you're facing them for a trip to the regional finals.
Yeah, and big help for it being at the river. Again, like you just mentioned, a very loud stadium, and their fans show up, parents, student section, and it's always a good time over there as well. So Bishop Kenny definitely happy where they're at in the playoffs, and they got that 7th seed getting the win last week. They're definitely happy about not facing the 2 seed, but still, I mean, that's a team that beat them, so it should be a good game and should be a fun one at the river.
And it's going to be a high-scoring game, too, I think. Godby, a team that averages over 30 points per game, but they also give up more than 30 points per game. Not a very strong defense, and we mentioned there 7 straight games scoring over 40 points for the Crusaders, so there's going to be a lot of points on the board. This is a game where I could see it going up over 100 total, if I'm being completely honest. And then how about Beachside there? Coming up with a win at home against Mosley. The Barracudas moving on to the second round.
Yeah, Beachside, they were hitting a little bit of a lull towards the later stretch of the season, but they've been really putting it together at the end. After that Nease loss, they've been doing a really good job. I think that win against Fleming Island, that rescheduled game in that bye week or hurricane week right before the playoffs, them beating Fleming like they did, that was a Fleming team that was really hot and winning some big-time games, and I bet that was a big confidence booster, and also winning the district title in that game as well, and then they pull off the win in the last game in the playoffs. So Beachside's really a really good team and a scary one to face in the playoffs. We know that offense is high-flying. Eddie Jordan's one of the better QBs in the area. They've been doing a really good job over there. One of the more fun offenses to watch, and they got a lot of cool plays over there, so Beachside doing some really good things. That's going to be a really good matchup next week or this Friday, Ponte Vedra and Beachside. Yeah,
Beachside getting it done, a 23-7 final. And we talk about that offense, but really it was the defense that got it done for them against Milton. How about that unit holding them to just 7 points?
It's very impressive, especially because, like I just mentioned, their offense gets more of the attention. Like, I just gave them the attention too when they just wanted a defensive game. So their defense stepping up in a big time moment, that just shows you how tough they are and how well rounded they are as a full team. And really good job by that defense for doing so.
Yeah, I want to bring up something here because you never quite know what's going to happen in the playoffs. That 7 seed winning against the 2 seed there in that 3A region to face Bishop Kenny is an example of one, but in the area last week, Brody, I want to talk about what was the biggest surprise to you from last week's slate of games?
Yeah, Oakleaf just getting blown out like they did, and just I don't think it's a big shocker like of the game and the points and how it just happened, but just Nease executing at that high of a level, and Oakleaf, that's a really good football team, one of the better defenses in the area. They've done that front seven. It's got just each player just has a big number of sacks, as we've mentioned in that broadcast. But yeah, for Nease to go in that playoff game, and especially with I bet you that win, I know that win last year that Oakleaf had over them was in their mind. It's hard to beat a team after you get demoralized the year before. They just showed up with a lot of energy and played. And Oakleaf, they're a really good football team. They just got outplayed, and that was a big time shocker. Nobody thought that Nease was going to win by that much.
Yeah, 45
2 scores
to 7.
max.
That's
is what
the
I
most
thought.
points that Oakleaf has given up since their matchup with Bulls in 2024.
Wow.
They haven't given up 40 points outside of that Ed White game this year. They gave up 45 to Nease, and just an impressive performance from the Panthers all around. Chandler, how about you? What was the biggest surprise to you last week?
Yeah, mine was definitely the overtime win for PV. They've 1 point score 2 years in a row with the same team's kind of unheard of. But there's a little rivalry there, and they're not even from the same area. So it was definitely the PV game. They won 30-29.
Chandler, you're a baseball guy, and during the season with more games, you get to play teams from all around Florida and over there at Trinity. You get some look at some teams from around the country. You guys have any rivalries with teams that are, not really local, anything that's built up like that?
I'll say some of the Georgia teams. Like, we play Lowndes every year. I've played Buford before. All those games are always like, you want to play those games. It's almost like a rival game because it's like a Florida versus Georgia battle. So I really like playing the other Georgia teams because they're always good.
Brody, how about you? You have a team that you kind of formed a rivalry against that wasn't really a local squad?
Man, I don't know.
It's a little tougher in football.
I would say, but I would agree with them as well. When we played the Georgia teams, we really wanted to get that win because, it's. I think there's more of a notion that more people across the country would say Georgia is a better football state, or like they play harder high school football than Florida. So we want to go in there and prove that we're a better team. And I played Glen Academy my junior year. I was hurt, but there was definitely a lot of scrappiness going on the field, a little tussling after plays, and Richmond Hill when I played them. I mean, our team was getting DM'd before the game by these guys, so we really wanted to win those games, and playing those Georgia teams, definitely, I agree with Chandler on that. It creates just a different edge of rivalry and a different feel.
Those are always special, when you don't really know the guys, but there's something about it. You just don't like them,
Yeah, they're in my shout out to Clayton Long at Navy. He's doing some good things over there, but their whole line was in his DMs. They just sent some waving emojis and stuff like they were trying to get in our heads, but Georgia teams, man, we don't want to lose to them.
Yeah. And for me, my biggest surprise last week, how about Impact Christian?
Yeah.
36-0 over Episcopal. They scored 2 defensive touchdowns on interceptions. And
wow.
That was a game where I picked Episcopal going into that. Impact Christian, the 5 seed, and I feel like they haven't been able to quite, win those types of games. They went 0-2 in their district play this season, but to come out and dominate that way last week, how about that performance to move on to round 2?
Yeah, it's a really good example of a team peaking at the right time. I mean, I picked Impact Christian to win, but that was like a toss-up in my head. I went back and forth with it, with who I wanted to pick. I did some scheduling, researching and whatnot, but yeah, I don't think anybody thought they're going to win in the way they did.
And how about there were a lot of fireworks in round 1 as well, and you're going to get that sometimes when a high seed faces a low seed and in round 1, but some area teams really put it on them last week. I want to start with St. Augustine, 70 points against Arnold with 2 touchdowns on special teams, 1 on defense, a complete team effort from the Yellow Jackets coming after that loss to the Mandarin Mustangs in their regular season finale. Yeah,
it looked like they were trying to chase Rain's point record they had this year when they dropped 77. I forgot about Sandalwood. And for any team to drop that many points in the game is impressive, but to do it in a playoff game, wow, that's some cool stuff. So St. Aug definitely dominated that game, and 70 points, that's a crazy number right there. That's insane.
That's a lot of momentum coming into our game of the week now. Yeah. On Friday night, they're going to face off Ed White. We haven't posted it yet because it was just decided officially late last night, but we're going to be heading out to St. Augustine for Ed White and the Yellow Jackets on Friday night. You can catch that here on Action Sports Jacks 24/7. And then a couple other teams last week. Brunswick, 78 points against Winterboro with 54 points in the first half, over 700 total yards of offense. Just unbelievable stuff there from the Pirates. And then Bulls putting up 63 over Walton. Jaden Weatherly, a perfect 7-7 passing, 115 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Xander Edwards, 4 touchdowns on 8 carries. How about that for the Bulls Bulldogs there in round 1? Coming up after this break, we're going to be joined by Nease head coach Collin Drafts coming after their round 1 dominance over Oakleaf.
Most of us know how to throw. But you need to know what to throw. I'm not talking about footballs, baseballs, softballs. We're talking about those items you need to recycle. Republic Services explains it easy. Recycling simplified. 1. Know what to throw. When in doubt, throw it out. 2. Empty, clean, and dry those materials. It takes an extra minute, but it makes a big difference. And 3. Don't bag it. This makes the recycling process faster and more efficient. This is a look at the Republic Services North Florida Recycling Center. You can make this process even more efficient. By utilizing those 3 steps, Republic Services can help you become a better recycler in your home. Learn more at recyclingsimplified.com. Burgers or breakfast, you can get it all at Whataburger. Try something new on the menu or an all-time favorite like the Whataburger Patty Melt.
And now you can have breakfast here at Whataburger 12 hours a day, 11 p.m. until 11 a.m. Menu items like the bacon taquito, sausage taquito, honey butter chicken biscuit. Whether you work the late night shift, just want a snack early in the morning to get your day started, or a little pick-me-up late in the morning, 12 hours a day, breakfast served, 11 p.m. until 11 a.m.
A dozen locations in Jacksonville. You can order pickup or delivery and download the Whataburger app. New rewards members get free Whataburger items when placing their first online order. Just download the app. And for us coffee drinkers, Whataburger has all new hot coffee and iced coffee too. Satisfy that coffee craving at Whataburger 24/7, and it comes in a variety of flavors. Burgers, breakfast, coffee, and so much more. Whataburger, just like you like it. Baker's Sports. It's a hometown business filled with hometown people trying to make you feel right at home.
Chris Conley, Jacksonville University.
Walker Wright, class of 2018, West Nassau High School.
Michael Young, Fletcher High School.
Baker's Sports started in a grassroots way and now outfits much of the Southeast.
Tony Mazzio, Stanwood High School, class of 2002.
High school sports, travel sports, youth sports of all kinds. They are a one-stop shop carrying Nike, Adidas, Under Armour brands, and more.
Vincent Caldes, Oakleaf High School.
Samuel Coffrin, Paxton School for Advanced Studies.
Whether it's sports teams on the field or it's your team in the workplace, like our Action Sports Jacks team, and community events like the Dream 18 Golf Tournament, and many others.
Cole Tilley, Hilliard High School.
Reagan Webb, Eagles View Academy.
Look good, feel good, play good with Baker Sports. Custom sports apparel since 1997. Shop with the hometown team at bakersport.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Blitz Breakdown. We're joined now by Nease head coach Collin Drafts, coming off of a 45-7 win over Oakleaf on Friday night. How about that performance last week, Coach? And, by the way, great to have you on the show.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me, man. First time on. You guys do a phenomenal job. Appreciate you having me here. Yeah, I mean, it feels good, right? Got the win in the first round. Being able to, avenge that loss from last year. We talked about it after the game. Having an incredible year last year, to be undefeated and to be riding high, to be the number one, seed in the playoffs, and then Oakleaf came in and whipped our butts, really, and before we knew it, the year was over. So, we were really motivated coming in and played good football and got the outcome that we wanted, for sure.
Yeah, and what was the message to the team coming into that game? Because, I mean, you guys, you came out, you were fired up.
Yeah, I mean, we took it personal, really. I mean, just like I said before, I mean, we didn't want it to end that way last year. We had played them in the kickoff classic that same year, too. We went to Oakleaf.
Oh, I didn't.
And yeah, I mean, you talk about probably the most heated kickoff classic I've ever been a part of. There was a fight that broke out. We were jawing back and forth, and we got after it with them. And I appreciated and respected the competition, which is why we put them on the schedule for that kickoff classic that year. Little did we know that we would play them in the playoffs again. We had that kickoff classic last year. We had the playoff loss to them. And then we go to team camp every July, FCA team camp, right? So sure enough, they're at team camp, and there's like 8 teams at team camp.
Yeah.
So we played Oakleaf probably 4 or 5 times in 3 days, and I think that we got in a fight with them every time we played. Now, when I say fight, we're talking about football scuffle, not that big of a deal, just guys getting after it, competing. You know, so there was that bad blood from playoffs and camp and everything else involved. And guys were talking, and they were talking, and we were talking, and I enjoy that part of it.
Yeah.
Some people, you know, don't like that part of the game. I think that having a healthy, you know, competition and rivalry with the team and a little jawing going on is a good thing for high school football. And so, yeah, it was personal, and we came out and played like it.
Yeah, and talk about the team and your growth throughout the year, because there's been pits, there's been some valleys. You went on a 2-week stretch with some tough opponents, but the team seems to be playing its best football right now. Yeah,
definitely. I think that we are, and you look at the schedule that we had, you know, in the regular season, we came out hot. We had the big Ponte Vedra win, you know, and then we play Creekside. We play Lincoln from Tallahassee. They were undefeated at the time. We played an undefeated Fletcher team, and really all 4 of those games we won pretty handedly. The Fletcher game got close in the second half. We came out hot. We're feeling good about it, and then right in the middle of the year, you know, you have St. Aug at home, and you got to go on the road against Buchholz. And we knew that was going to be difficult. Those were 2 games that we both won in overtime last year. And to lose the game against St. Augustine the way we did, kind of in those final 2 minutes, and you have to go on the road, and played really poorly, if I'm honest with you, against Buchholz the first time. So now you're 4-0, but then you're 4-2. That didn't feel good. And we were at a crossroads, really. You know, how are we going to respond with that 2-game slide? And I'm just really proud of our seniors, the way they responded, you know, came back to work, and now we're riding a 5-game winning streak going into the second round right now with that big win versus Oakleaf. We can't get ahead of ourselves, right? It's a one game at a time, but we're playing really good football right now in all 3 phases of the game, and that's what you want to see going into the playoffs.
Yeah, and your offense in the last 4 games, averaging 39 points per game.
Right.
Just talk about those guys and how they've been picking it up towards this later stretch.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, I think the turning point for us to evolve offensively has been up front. Like, we really challenged our offensive line. On that 2-game slide, we had negative rushing yards against St. Augustine, and then we really couldn't run the ball very well against Buchholz either. So we kind of huddled those guys in and said, look, man, we've got to make a call here. We need to be able to run the football. As much credit or as much as we're known for kind of throwing the ball over the yard, we really operate, you know, through our RPO, you know, system. We like to be as 50-50 as possible. We talked about it before the game. If you can't run the ball, there's no more R at RPO.
Yeah.
You know, and so we've really got the run game humming right now. We feel good about the 5 that we have up front. You know, Enrique, Quinn Bradfield, Cam Clinton, Chase McNeil. We've got 4 running backs that we feel really good about. And then we kind of unleashed the Aiden Pfeiffer rushing attack against Oakleaf. And not only that, I think I did the math today. I think we had 7 people run the football in the game. So you talk about the quarterback, you talk about 3 different running backs, and then you had 3 or 4 different wideouts touch the ball in the run game as well. That's difficult to stop when the defense doesn't know where the ball is going to go, even in the run game. You know, so we feel good about what those guys are doing. But it really does all start up front. We've got to give credit to our offensive line. They've matured. They're playing physical football, and we're playing through them right now, and feel good about it.
And you really showed in that game. You guys played some really physical football. Your defense does what they usually do. Offense did a really good job. Right. I want to talk about how you guys do a lot of motions on offense. You guys, I would say you guys have more of a complex offense compared to other teams in the area. And just to execute that, you guys pretty much executed flawlessly on a lot of those plays. I just want to talk about how all the hard work and preparation that goes into running your offense and how you guys can just be smart on the field.
Right. That's really what it was. I believe that the reason we got the result that we got Friday night, we had the best week of practice going into that Oakleaf game probably in the 7 years I've been at Nease.
Wow.
Like, I remember leaving Thursday morning walkthrough thinking, like, we are dialed in right now. I don't know what's going to happen. You never know.
Yeah.
Could have gone out there and got our butts whipped again. But at the end of the game, I was not surprised that the execution went the way it did because our dudes were dialed in. And, the thing about our offense is it can maybe look complex, and I think that's really kind of the key, right? We want to make it look as difficult and as complex to the opposing team that we're playing. But our guys know that our core principles week to week never change, like what we're going to do in the run game, what we're going to do in the pass game, and with our RPO stuff. And so we'll just dress it up and make it look look like 1,000 different plays, and we're really running the same thing over and over again. But it comes down to blocking and running and throwing and catching, and obviously tackling and covering people on defense too. So I think fundamentally we're playing really well right now. Technique-wise, we're playing really well. And one of our edges, over the past couple of years has been that our offense is going to give you a different look than what you see for most people, and our defense is going to give you a different look. So we like to try to be as different as we can be, while not making it too difficult for the kids. But we've got some really smart players that can handle anything that we throw at them, and they're doing a great job executing what we're asking them to do week in and week out.
How much did Chase Pfeiffer help in blocking in that extra push up front this week?
Yeah, I mean, he helped a ton. That was one of the things that we talked about before the game as well. We had lined him up at tight end throughout the year from time to time, but having the versatility to have him at tight end, to have him at wide out, to have him at slot, and to have him at fullback, or essentially H-back if you want to call it that, he didn't leave the field, the entire game. And I don't know if do y'all know how many catches he had Friday night? Zero, right? And it might have been one of the better games that he played, the more impactful games that he played all year long, because we had, I think, 100 and how many passing yards did we have? 100.
Exactly 100 on the dot, I think.
Yeah, and we didn't really throw the ball a lot, right? And probably out of the 100 passing yards we had, I think 60 or 70 came from bubble screens, right? We're the king of the bubble screen, right? But the Ponte Vedra game, right?
Yeah,
spamming bubbles, right?
Yeah,
they couldn't stop it. But none of that flows without Chase Pfeiffer.
Mm-hmm.
Like we would line up in 3-by-1, and he's the number 2, and they would press him, and a lot of people would try to take your bubble away. With that, scheme, if you will, and he shut it down every time. He put a hat on a hat, and we'd flick it out there to Braden, Felder, and he would go. So I think Chase played really well, even though he didn't have a catch. And now that he's, really expanding that part of his game, I think he's a true tight end. He was first team all district at tight end, and he deserved it. So he's a weapon. He can block. He can get up and catch the ball. So we feel good about, what he brings to the table.
Was he a tight end coming into this year? Because I remember on our Ponte Vedra call, you had seen him playing basketball and thought he was a tight end. Was that
that was the turning point for me. We had talked about it. He played JV last year as a sophomore and didn't play a lick at tight end. He was probably last year 6'3", 180 pounds, soaking wet. And then by the time we got into basketball season, he was probably maybe a $190, $195, playing kind of like that 3-4 spot. And just watching him move and watching his frame, and he had gotten taller. And you can tell by looking at him, he could easily carry, eventually 230, 240, if not more. That we decided, he can definitely help our team as a tight end. But more importantly for him and his future, he's going to be a very athletic tight end instead of just kind of a tall wide out. What I mean? He's 6'4", maybe even 6'5" right now, 215 pounds. He's only a junior. So the sky's the limit for him, that he can, he's got a bright future ahead of him at that tight end position for sure.
And let's talk about the shirt Nate Harry represented today.
Yeah, y'all got that on there. Nate Harry. He's a man. He's a legend, man. Nate Harry, he was with me at the quarterback position for all 4 years at Nease. Played freshman football, running around like a chicken with his head cut off, not knowing what's going on. Started as a 10th grader on JV and did a great job. Came into his junior year, started that year. We went 2-2. He had done some good things, but we just felt like we had a senior that was behind him, that if we made the change earlier in the year, that maybe we could, elevate our game a little bit. Bryce Frick, shout out, by the way. Ponte Vedra transfer. Transferred in June, and then a couple months later, he beats Ponte Vedra by 1 point in the fourth quarter, right?
That's a really cool story.
A really cool story. Like Bryce Frick, not to change gears on Nate Harry, but like Bryce Frick came in, transferred in June, going into his senior year. By the way, was always a Nease kid. He was a academy to Ponte Vedra, right? So came over, wasn't going to be the guy there, came into camp as the third string quarterback. And I pretty much told him, I was like, hey, man, we've got our guy. You're probably not going to play. And but kept on working hard in practice and kept on, making some big-time throws and big-time plays. And we felt like, we struggled the first half of the Fletcher game on the road. Felt like it was the right time to put him in. And he came in, I think he went 5-1 as a starter late in the year, won the district championship, and it was a dude, man. Was a dude. Yeah. But back to Nate Harry, though. He could have cashed it in after his junior year, comes back his senior year, wins the job, and the rest is history, right? He goes undefeated, first undefeated season for Nease since, I think, 2006, right? The year after Tebow. I think they went 14-1. They went 14-0 and then lost the state championship game. But Nate's a baller, man. One of my ultimate competitor, right? Can run, can throw, intelligent, knows the game, great leader, and I'm sure he's having a great time as a freshman in college right now, down in Boca Raton, I believe.
Yeah, good for him.
Tearing it up, right? But he's doing well. Well.
And I see the videos of you with your jerseys, with your shirts of your former players.
Right.
How many of those do you have in your closet?
Yeah, the collection is growing, right? So it started with Marcus Stokes. I got the Dom Henry, right? Dom Henry played in 2021 when we went on that run. Ryan McGough, right? Broski on the team. Third round versus Buchholz is where it ended. So we've had a lot of history with Buchholz the past 3 or 4 years, but got the Ben Bogle, West Virginia jersey in the mail the other day.
Nice.
And I've got a couple more rolling in, but it's been fun to kind of, time has really flown by for me. Getting down here in 2019, and now here I am, in my 7th year at Nease, man, thinking about all the great players that I've been blessed to coach throughout the years and the great teams, and it's been a lot of fun. A lot of really good players, and just more importantly, just good dudes that have rolled through our program that makes my job a lot of fun day in and day out.
And switching gears to Buchholz, you got them coming up on Friday, the underdogs in this matchup, a team that's knocked you out of the playoffs before.
You're right.
What's going to be the key to you guys pulling off the upset and getting a different result than you did early in the season?
Yeah, the first time we went down there, I don't know what it was. It could have been maybe a little bit of a hangover from losing that St. Augustine game the way we did, but we didn't have any energy that game, which is not like a Nease football team. We're usually pretty jacked up and ready to roll and meeting teams where they're at, but something didn't feel right about the game. Didn't play well, no energy. But even with all that being said, it was a 7-10 football game in the third quarter, and then they pulled away. But we've got to find a way to contain their run game. They've got a lot of weapons. We talked about 13, Justin Williams. They can throw it to them. They can hand it to them. Sophomore quarterback, head coach's son, Whitmore, right? He's a dude. And they're big up front across the board. So we've got our hands full. But if we execute the way we did Friday night versus Oakleaf, we can be in the game with anybody. We just have to make sure that's the team that we're going to get, on the road this Friday down in Gainesville.
Absolutely, and we wish you guys the best of luck as the local team in that matchup, and thank you for joining us on the show. Looking forward to seeing your game on Friday.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys having me.
That's Collin Drafts, everybody. Back after this with Coach Kevin Sullivan. We're going to be looking ahead to the playoff matchups here in round 2.
When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway, or shop online at NimnickBuickGMC.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnicht, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnicht has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness. And most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnicht. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnicht. GMC. We are professional grade. If you need a quality play this football season at your home, call That One Painter First Coast. Locally owned and operated, experienced employees, no builder grade materials. And there's more, and for that we throw it to Noah Schlicksup. That One Painter First Coast can apparently help your kicking game too.
Well, after my failure on skinny sticks last year on Creekside game day, I've spent a lot of time out here at Creekside practicing my kicks. There's only one issue. How is that even possible? The good news is I know exactly who can help. That One Painter can handle all your painting needs, from field goal posts to cabinets to stucco. They got you covered. Though they may not be able to help with my kicking, they can certainly help with the posts. Call That One Painter First Coast today for all your painting needs at 904-495-1373.
If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
One thing I noticed is that when Chuck joined me, he challenged me.
You're going to be late.
Not as late as you. It's a natural thing between brothers, pushing each other.
Hey, it's one-upmanship. It's good for us, and it's good for our clients.
It doesn't get more fairer than that.
Welcome, everybody, back to the Blitz Breakdown. Brody McGough, Noah Schlicksup, Chandler Dantzler with you, and it is time to make some picks. You ready for it, Brody?
Oh, yeah. I'm super stoked to make these picks. Did pretty well last week for me, so let's see if I can do it again.
Let's hear the record. Let's hear the record.
With 19, or out of 20 games, I got 19 right. So,
19-1.
Yeah, that's pretty cool stuff. Pretty
Close
happy
to a
about
bullseye
that.
right there.
Oh, just right. One away.
We needed Coach Doherty to come through for you, man. But you know what? It gives me a fighting chance. It still does. And then the SSAA Atlantic, you got the state championship game. Let's start off with that. West Nassau and American Heritage. Not the Pat Surtain, Tyson Campbell one. The other one.
Yeah.
But they're 9-3. They've had themselves a really good season, obviously, to get to the state championship.
Mm-hmm.
But West Nassau, 12-1. For this game, though, I got American Heritage.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pulling for West Nassau very hard. I like their football team. They run the wing team. They do a pretty good job on it. But American Heritage, they got their record's a little bit worse, but they're a really good football team. So I'm gonna have to go with them winning this football game. But best of luck to West Nassau in that game.
Yeah, best of luck to American Heritage because I got West Nassau in this one. Let's go.
Chandler Dantzler not going to go against the 904, or is he? Maybe he switches it up this time. Chandler Dantzler, man, full of surprises in that producer's chair. We'll have to see where he goes. On to 1A Region 1. We got University Christian. We got Impact Christian, 1 versus 5. Both teams 8-3. I picked against Impact Christian last week. Came back to nip me in the butt. I'm going to do it again this week because UC is going to come out with the win.
Yeah, before that Impact Christian playoff game and the way they dominated in that game, but before that, I would probably just easily say University Christian. But the way they're playing football right now, they're doing a really good job. And again, that win last week was very impressive. Still going University Christian though. Okay, sorry to Impact Christian, but I think University Christian's just the better team.
Yeah, that was a really impressive win for Impact last week, but. I was just looking around, looking at Max Preps. I think UC's had a harder schedule, so I'm going to stick with the Fighting Christians and UC.
Yeah, and Coach Sullivan for that matchup, taking University Christian. He should be joining us here in a little bit, working on getting him on to the other matchup there in the region. And there's Coach Sully right there. Welcome on to the show. We got Trinity Christian and Maclay. Trinity Christian, the 2 seed, 7-4. Maclay, the 3 seed, 8-3. Trinity Christian, they're a tough team to stop right now. I think they come out with the win in this one.
Yeah, I'm going with Trinity Christian as well. Let's keep the Cinderella story, in my opinion, the Cinderella story going from 1-4 and winning in the playoffs. Let's keep it going. Let's keep that train on the train track. So give me Trinity Christian winning this game.
Coach?
Yeah, 100%. I think Trinity Christian playing well. We're looking at the UC-TC in another week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm aiming for. That's why I picked UC to win the Impact game, and I'm going with Trinity for this, and I want to see that matchup next week.
Do they have a nickname for that when the two Christian academies fight off match up?
Battle of the Sword.
I know we got the Holy War at the college football level. Why don't we get it down here?
Yeah,
the Jacksonville Holy War.
Yeah.
2A Region 1, the only Jacksonville team alive there right now is Bulls. They're 10-1 going up against the 4 seed FSU High School. Bulls, they're gonna roll.
Yeah, I think Bulls is gonna roll as well. Bulls is just too good. They're striding just towards that state championship game. To me, this is just a stepping stone for them. I'm gonna take Bulls winning this game.
I think this will be a little bit closer to up to halftime. FSU's used to be a perennial playoff team. And but I'm going to stick with Bulls, and I think Bulls will take control in the second half.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I'm going to stick with Bulls as well. Very good team, great on offense, great on defense, and the FSU High team had a great win over Baldwin, and Bulls scored a lot of points on Baldwin. So I think they're going to run through this team.
Yeah, Bulls getting that revenge for your 904 team.
Let's go.
And then 2A Region 2, Bradford, the 1 seed, 10-1, going up against Berkeley Prep. Who's 5-4. I think Bradford controls this game. They just put up 55 points last week, which isn't heard of very often from Bradford, so I think they keep it going in this matchup.
I agree with you, especially if their offense play like that. Their defense is going to hold teams to two scores, 3 scores max, so I think they're just going to roll through that one as well. So I'm going to give Bradford the nod on that game.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Bradford. I'm hoping, like we talked about last week, that Bulls Bradford is 1-2, then they don't play till the state championship.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Bradford as well. I hope we see fireworks before the game, and I hope they see fireworks after the game as well.
I like that. 3A Region 1, Rains in West Florida. Rains undefeated, 10-0, going up against the 5 seed that just knocked off Yulee. But I don't think Rains is getting stopped maybe at all this postseason. I think they come up with another dominant win.
Yeah, I got Rains taking this one. Just similar to what I said with Bulls, you just take another stepping stone for them to just make it to that state championship. And, I just think Rains is going to handle this one by multiple scores.
Yeah, I think the only first people that can stop Rains right now in the next couple of weeks is Rains, and I don't see that happening, so I'm definitely going to stay on the Rains train.
Yeah, I'm sticking with the 904.
And for good reason. Rains, I think if you were to run this game 1,000 times, they'd win 999 of the 1,000 times. So hopefully that 1 out of 1,000 doesn't happen here for this matchup. And then Bishop Kenny and the 7 seed Godby. Godby coming off of a big upset last week. And then Bishop Kenny 9-2. They're rolling right now, and I think they're going to score a lot of points and come away with the win.
Yeah, what Godby did last week was very impressive, and that shows you that they're a very scrappy team, and they're not scared of no one. They don't care who you are. They're going to go in that game and go play a hard fight. But at the same time, Bishop Kenny, they're rolling high. They're doing some really good things towards this later stretch of the season and in the playoff week 1 last week. So I'm going to go Bishop Kenny getting to the 3rd round.
Sully, before this one, we had a request. We missed you for the SSAA Atlantic State Championship game. Who you got, West Nassau, American Heritage?
Oh, man, I don't want to pick against my boys, West Nassau. So I'm going to go with American Heritage.
And then
I think it's been a good run for West Nassau, but I think American Heritage, I think they've won the last 2 in a row. And I'll be pulling for the West Nassaus, but my heart is West Nassau, but my mind is American Heritage.
Always tough to do that.
And then for Bishop Kenny and Godby.
Yeah, I think Bishop Kenny struggles sometimes with really athletic teams, and but I think their overall depth and the way they've been playing lately is real solid. So I'm going to stay with Bishop Kenny because it's on the river.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to stick with Bishop Kenny as well, but Bishop Kenny people, you guys need to enjoy this win because if you get to next week, I don't think you're getting on past that.
Yeah, but they get there.
Yeah, you know what? If there's any team in this region that could at least compete with Reigns, I think it would be BK. So that'll be an interesting matchup when they advance. Let's have some confidence here in our Crusaders. We got some more picks coming up after this 30-second message from Farah and Farah.
I'm going to let you in on a little secret. The thrill of winning never gets old.
But at Farah and Farah, it's not just about us. It's the thrill of fighting for our clients.
That's what drives us.
We've seen big insurance underpay car crash claims or flat out deny them.
It's sad to say, but it's true.
That's why we're so relentless, to get our clients every dollar they deserve.
It doesn't get more fairer than that.
We're making picks on the Blitz Breakdown. We're on to 4A Region 1, and we've got our game of the week. Ed White at St. Augustine, a combined 3 losses between these two teams. And I'm going to start off by saying this. I think that Ed White has a very real chance of competing in this game. And I think there is a realistic road to them coming away with a win. That offense is elite, scoring-wise, the best in the history of Florida. They're going to be able to score in this game. No matter what St. Augustine's defense does, I think they are playing good football as of late. What they did against Mandarin was incredibly impressive. So I think it could end up being tight down the stretch. However, as we've seen with Baldwin, a couple other teams in the area, we'll see it throughout the playoffs. There's a lot of teams with very good offenses, but the defense isn't quite up to par. And in the end, they're going to have to get 3 stops. They're going to have to find a way to get 3 stops in this game. I don't think they're going to be able to do that against St. Augustine. So I think the Yellow Jackets come away with a win and advance to the regional finals.
Yeah, I think you broke that down perfectly, but and agreeing with you, if you have that level of an offense and how much firepower they have, you can have a chance with about any team you can play just because of how good one side of that ball is. Defense is obviously always been the question mark going into these tough matchups. But I agree with you. They got to get 3 turnovers or something around that mark. Some miraculous stuff needs to happen. Maybe some special teams plays, some St. Aug errors would be definitely go in their favor. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with St. Augustine taking this game. But I think it's gonna be a tough one. And if St. Augustine needs to bring their A game for sure.
Yeah, I think Brenton James doesn't turn the ball over.
Yeah, that's hoping for some fumbles or some special team stuff, maybe.
Special teams will be big. But I called the bookies, and I'm taking the over on this game. So, but yeah, I think it's going to be a fun one. I think St. Augustine pulls away in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, I just looked up on On3. St. Aug has an 84% chance of winning this game, and in my opinion, I think this is going to be like another game of the week game we had last week. I don't think this game is going to be close. So I got St. Aug by over 14 points.
What are we setting the over-under at? Not for like the score differential, but what are we thinking for total score in this game?
7.5.
75.
7.5.
No, not like the.
Okay.
Like the total points.
Like for both teams. Like I
think both are getting over 40. I think.
I agree. I was going to go like 85. and a half. Or
I
something.
said 75.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
that's a
that's a
good
good
one.
one.
I think
I'm mashing the over on 75. I think
me
I'd
too.
take the over on 90.
That's a good point, too.
Ooh.
That's what I'm taking.
And it's a game. Ed White, all the games they've lost was a one-score game, so it could possibly go into OT as well. So,
and
that OT could last for a while. You could be there until midnight. And
I'm here for it, man. I'm here for the chaos. I'm here for the entertainment.
Yeah, that's why we picked it. Both offenses so fun to watch, and hope it is a barn burner.
Yeah, and it very well could be. That'll be live on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. On to the other game in that region. We got Choctaw and Columbia. Choctaw 10-1, Columbia 9-2. Choctawhatchee, the 2 seed, and I think it's been a good run for Columbia. They did put up 35 points against Rickards last week, which is a good step for them, but I don't think they're going to be able to score enough to take down this team. Their defense is going to keep them in it, though.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to say this is the opposite for Ed White. Like they have that strong, that overpowered offense that keep him in the game. This Columbia team has that really strong defense to keep him in the game. I think their magic numbers around, if they can hold them to 3 scores, I think they have a healthy chance of winning this ball game. But this Choctaw team's, I've heard a lot of good things about them throughout the season. I think they're probably going to take away this win. Should be a good one though, in a Choctaw, wherever that is. I don't know.
Choctaw.
Wherever it is.
Well, I text Noah today and give him a little backstory. So the head coach at Choctaw was run out of Lake City, Columbia as the head coach back in the late, I think 2007 or 8 or 6 or 5, somewhere around there.
Wow.
And so I feel he'll want a little revenge on that, even though it's been like 18 years.
Have they played since then?
I'm going to take Choctaw.
I wonder, have they faced off since then?
Not with him being there, no.
Wow, so that's, I don't know, I'd be feeling that.
And I think most coaches just like to take anything as motivation, but I think that's a pretty good, and that's some deep history right there, even though it's been a while since he's been back to Lake City. I bet you definitely, or played against Columbia, so I bet he definitely wants to get that win.
Did you have any games like, any games like that for you,
Choctaw.
Coach?
I'm sorry?
Did you have any games that were like that for you?
No, not really. I don't think I really had any of those that we played maybe the other side. I know when I went to Atlantic Coast, we didn't play Jackson for 3 years. It was just weird going back, and I told my kids just make sure I don't go to the other sideline because I was so used to going that way, coming out from underneath the goalpost. It was just weird, though, playing at a field that I'd spent like 11 years at.
I bet.
So,
Yeah, let me just make this clear. I'm not picking against any 904 team. But Columbia isn't 904. They're from Lake City, so I'm going with Choctaw on this one.
You know what? And I think that's going to suit your record very well, Chandler.
I hope so.
Choctawhatchee, we got them. Choctawhatchee. Man, we've been talking about them for 3 weeks now. I should have that one down. Choctawhatchee. We got them across the board. 5A Region 1. Ponte Vedra coming off with that overtime thriller last week, taking on one of the 2 teams to take them down this year in the Beachside Barracudas. I think Beachside's turned it around a little bit in the past few weeks. Like, they went on that stretch where they were winning games, but it wasn't pretty. And it was close against teams that shouldn't have been close with. Then, obviously, that blowout against Nease. It's an impressive win against Mosley, that 23-7 final. But I think Ponte Vedra is playing some good football right now. And that's a team that, when they have some motivation as well, and they'll have plenty of motivation after that loss earlier this year, I think they're going to be able to come out with the win over the Beachside Barracudas.
I'd like to start this off by saying I can't wait to hear Chandler's pick 2 904 teams. He's in a bind over there, thinking his brain's all over the place.
Good stuff for me.
But anyways, I think these 2 teams, to me, in my opinion, are very similar. 2 high-flying offenses, 2 of the best QBs in the area, and 2 QBs that really like to throw the football around. So, and both defenses, solid ones, but not as good as their offense. I'm going to go with Ponte Vedra because it is hard to beat a team twice in one season. I'm going with PV to win this one.
yeah, I agree with you on that. I think it's going to be a fun game. I think it's going to come down to defense, and I believe that PV defense is a little bit better than Beachside's. And so I'm going to go ahead and take PV for the revenge game.
Yeah, when I was looking at this game and going through the max preps, I just went back to when Beachside played Middleburg, went to overtime, Middleburg win. won, and then the next week they played Orange Park with a really, really close game. So that kind of made me switch over to Ponte Vedra, so I like Ponte Vedra on this one.
Yeah, PV and Beachside, looking forward to that one on Friday night. On to 6A Region 1, we got Buchholz, we got Nease. Again, tough to beat a team twice in a season, especially with the way the Nease Panthers are coming together right now as a team. But Buchholz, I mean, I've covered a lot of Buchholz games and seen a lot of teams go in there where I'm like, nah, they're playing some good football. They could bring them down. I think Nease is going to keep this one close. Love Coach Drafts, the staff over there, and the culture that they've built. I think they're going to compete. I think they have a very real chance to win. But I've picked against Buchholz too many times, and it's come back to bite me. So you know what? I'm going to give Nease the motivation here, and I'm going to pick Buchholz to win this game.
Yeah, heard the Chandler come on in the back.
That makes you mad, man.
But I'll start this one off by saying, Drafts mentioned he felt that his Nease team was a little dead going into Citizens Field. I think that kind of happens to a lot of teams going to Citizens Fields. I played over there before, and you can just feel the team just being a little bit more dead than you would for other games. I don't know what
it's a weird place.
I was about to say, I think it's just something about the I don't want to say this word, but the aura around there, it's just
not a great field.
Yeah, it's just like, and you travel to Gainesville, and it's in a bad.
And then you look at the monsters on the other side. of the field.
Yeah. But this is a Buchholz team that it's still very talented, but I don't think it's as, at least skilled position wise, it's not as talented as Buchholz teams before. I think Nease has to play near a perfect game to win, and I'm gonna go right with the 904 team here because it's hard to beat a team twice.
That it is.
Well, I think that beating a team twice is hard, but I also believe that playing at home in this round of playoffs, and like you said, it's just sort of a different feel at Citizens Field there. And I just think Nease has done a really nice job in his battle back and everything, but I just don't know if they've got enough to beat Buchholz. So I'm going to take Nease.
Buchholz just has a history of ending runs for teams from around here. You think back to like Bartram Trail, Oakleaf, Nease, Chandler. You think it's going to keep on continuing, or you think Nease comes out with the win?
You know, it was impressive last week what Nease did against Oakleaf. So I'm sticking with them. I think they're on a roll, and they kind of have that groove going into round two, playing against a good team like Buchholz. I think they're going to come in like with fire, not like the last time they played them, but I think Nease will win this one.
Yeah, and Nease, I can tell you, being on that field post game, they're ready for it. They're not celebrating that Oakleaf win as much as they're saying, let's get ready for Buchholz. They really want this one.
Yeah, and you know that first game they played, I think that's that first game, them losing and them feeling like they haven't played the best they've played all season. I think that's going to be a big fueler for them. And
it's a team that loves their field.
Yeah, they love that. They love it.
A 2-3 game in that same region. We got Mandarin, we got Pace, both teams 10-1. I'm with Chandler. I'm not picking against the 904, and I'm not picking against the Mandarin Mustangs.
Go.
I just think the Panhandle doesn't have as good as football as it is around in the 904. I think we saw that with Ponte Vedra Niceville last week, and a lot of the playoff games throughout the years where the 904 usually prevails. I think Mandarin will do the same as well. And after crapping on the Panhandle a little bit, Pace is a very good football team, so it should be a good game. I just think the Mustangs will pull this one out.
Yeah, Pace has a big monster offensive line. They run some single wing stuff, which will probably give Mandarin a little bit issues early in the game because of the speed of the game. The big physical offensive lineman that's committed to Clemson, the running back, is one of the best players in that area, and he's young. But I'm going to stick with Mandarin this week. But I would not be surprised to see Pace put an end to it because they're going to control the ball. They're going to get first downs, and they want to keep Mandarin off the field. But I'm going to stay with the Mustangs.
Yeah, I'm just going to say a sentence. Bryson Wright is back. Sticking with the Mustangs.
And sticking with the 904. Sully, Chandler, thanks for joining us again for the picks. Thank you all for joining us on the Blitz Breakdown. Back next week for round 3 and back on Friday for our game of the week. See you next time, everybody.
All right, guys.
Experience is priceless, but there's experience in being a lawyer, and there are life experiences too. You got to have both. There are a lot of good lawyers out there, but the real question is, are they good enough to take time to listen? Are they good enough to treat you with dignity and respect? In other words, are they good enough for you? When we say we're old school, but not old fashioned, we do things in a timeless, classic way that our clients really appreciate. It doesn't get more fairer than that.
Burgers or breakfast, you can get it all at Whataburger. Try something new on the menu or an all-time favorite like the Whataburger Patty Melt.
And now you can have breakfast here at Whataburger 12 hours a day, 11 p.m. until 11 a.m. Menu items like the bacon taquito, sausage taquito, honey butter chicken biscuit. Whether you work the late night shift, just want a snack early in the morning to get your day started, or a little pick-me-up late in the morning, 12 hours a day, breakfast served, 11 p.m. until 11.